Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about citizenship and residence permits in Georgia. Who needs them? Who doesn't? What are the pros and cons? What you can do with them? And other important points. Let's get started. Let's start with the residence permit. Not everyone here actually needs a residence permit. The thing is, Georgia is one of the few countries where you can stay for 365 days a year, absolutely without any problems, legally, without any bureaucracy or other hassles. So once a year, you just do a visa run to a neighboring country, Turkey, Armenia, and then you can keep living here without any issues. So who actually needs a residence permit? A residence permit is needed for those who, for example, want to buy a car here and drive it to Europe. This is also an important point because cars here are cheap and many people come, buy one and drive everywhere. If you don't have a residence permit, you can only drive around Georgia. You can buy a car without any problem, but you'll only be able to drive it within the country. The second group of people who need a residence permit are those who want to apply for various visas and similar things. That is, if you have a residence permit, it's definitely easier to do this as well. And the third important factor for whom it's really necessary is for those who want to take out a mortgage. It is possible to get a mortgage here without a residence permit, but if you take out a mortgage with a residence permit, you'll get slightly better terms. That is, instead of a 10-year term, you'll have a 15-year term. And the interest rate will be a little more favorable. Well, not by much, but just a bit better. What else might you need a residence permit for? For example, if you want to obtain citizenship. You can get citizenship after 5 years of holding a residence permit, but the only thing is, of course, to get citizenship you need to learn Georgian and pass a language test. This is also quite an important factor that might discourage many people. What do you need in order to get a residence permit? Naturally, you need to buy real estate. That's the first option. You buy property for $100,000, get a cadastral valuation, check with the cadaster to make sure the property is worth $100,000, and you'll also need an additional appraisal to confirm the property's value matches that amount. In this case, you are granted a residence permit for 1 year, and each year you renew it accordingly. After that, you can apply for citizenship or a permanent residence permit. That's up to you. The next option is also through real estate, but you get it for 3 years right away. The purchase amount for the property must be $300,000. In both cases, you need to own the property. That's important. So, if you buy a new development and it hasn't yet been registered as your property, well, it's normal at the construction stage, then you'll have to wait until you can register it. That's also an important point. In other words, you need either a property that is already fully completed or one that is nearing the end of construction and can be registered as your property. That's an important point. Another way to obtain a residence permit is, of course, through registering as an individual entrepreneur. You can open an individual entrepreneur account, start your own business, and pay 50,000 lari in taxes to the state, specifically VAT taxes. If you pay this amount, then in principle you can get a residence permit quite easily. As for the overall ease of obtaining a residence permit, that's also an important point because in 2023 there was a period when it was very difficult to get a residence permit. I don't know what caused it, but there was such a period. Now that period has passed, and it's now easy and straightforward to get a residence permit. So you can go ahead and get it as long as you meet all the requirements. If you can't manage to open or obtain a residence permit on your own, there are always people who can help you with this for a small or large fee. It depends on what kind of helper you find, so to speak. If your residence permit application is denied, don't get discouraged, because you can still obtain it through the courts. So with this denial, you go and file a claim in court. Accordingly, the court reviews your case and ultimately grants you the residence permit. That is, if all your documents are in order and you submitted everything correctly according to the law. Who do I recommend getting a residence permit to? Well, naturally to those who want to live here permanently and for a long time. I think in general it won't hurt to have it. And the second group is people who are actively and professionally engaged in investments. In particular, I recommend my investors to obtain a residence permit because there are a number of strategies where a longer leverage period of 15 years and a slightly lower interest rate provide more opportunities. That is, you can consider more strategies, achieve slightly higher returns, and it's a bit more interesting. It's not as if it will multiply your returns dramatically, but in certain types of strategies it can be quite valuable. If you're interested in learning about the different strategies, how you can make money from them, and which properties are best to buy, I'll pin a link for you here. You can follow the link under the video and check out the 7 main strategies that people use when coming here. All the main pros and cons are described there. I think you'll find it useful. That's all for today. See you next time.